I'm Tomer Cohen, LinkedIn's Chief Product Officer. In my new podcast, Building One, I interview some of the best product builders out there. People at the intersection of dreaming and building and learning. Together, you and I will learn from their experiences. If you're just as curious as I am, follow Building One wherever you listen, and check out the conversation on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn presents.
Divorce exists for a reason, and having the option to peacefully end a marriage not only protects spouses, it also allows them to grow and change. A marriage doesn't have to last until death for it to be additive and valuable. And the more couples enter marriage without the harmful mindset of, we have to make it work no matter what, the less terrifying it is to get married in the first place.
What's up, people? My name is Michael Kovnat, and this is the Next Big Idea Daily, the show that makes smart people smarter by offering quick summaries of the most interesting new books written and read to you by the authors themselves. Today, that author is Allison Raskin, a mental health advocate, podcaster, and New York Times bestselling author of I Do, I Think, Conversations About Modern Marriage. In a world where traditional relationship scripts are being rewritten, Allison challenges you to reconsider everything you thought you knew about tying the knot. Is marriage still relevant? Does it have to look like your parents' marriage? Do you even need to get married at all? From unpacking the hidden classism in marriage to reimagining divorce, from challenging therapy stigmas to celebrating relationship diversity. Here's Allison to share her key insights.
Modern marriage is classist. While marriage used to be one of the first steps in adulthood, now many Americans are waiting longer to get married. This shift has led to a feeling that people need to be financially stable before they are marriage material. The problem with this mindset is that the current economy prevents many people from ever feeling like they're in a stable enough financial situation to get hitched. This means wealthier people are more likely to get married nowadays than lower income couples, which then creates an even bigger divide because those wealthier couples then get all the societal and financial benefits that come from being married. We are trapped in a bit of a vicious cycle that can only be broken by taking a step back and realizing you don't need to build a certain level of wealth before you're marriageable. In fact, being married can actually make it easier for you to achieve that goal than to try to do it on your own. Don't wait for a crisis to go to couples therapy. I'll admit that couples therapy has a bad rap, but that's just the stigma talking. Couples therapy doesn't mean your relationship is doomed. Instead, it implies that you care enough about each other to put in the work. One of the biggest mistakes couples make is waiting too long to get professional help. To combat this bad habit, I think modern couples should engage in premarital counseling whenever possible to make sure they've covered all the big topics like finances, domestic labor, children, and future goals before tying the knot. The only caveat is that couples therapy isn't covered by insurance, so it is often prohibitively expensive. But if you have the money to utilize this resource, it can save you from a lot of stress and potentially a divorce in the future. We need to change the way we talk about divorce. Framing divorce as a failure isn't helping anyone, and it's also not accurate. Divorce exists for a reason, and having the option to peacefully end a marriage not only protects spouses, it also allows them to grow and change. A marriage doesn't have to last until death for it to be additive and valuable. And the more couples enter marriage without the harmful mindset of, we have to make it work no matter what, the less terrifying it is to get married in the first place. Plus, being more open to the possibility of divorce might also help people realize and embrace the usefulness of prenups and postnups, which are a great way to mitigate the risk of legally binding yourself to another person. There is no right amount of time to date before you get married. One of my biggest takeaways from my research is how much people's personal history and current context shape the way they show up in relationships. This means that there isn't going to be a magic formula for when you know someone well enough to tie the knot. So instead of looking to the amount of time spent together, I encourage daters to look at how that time together was spent. Have you been through hardship as a couple? Do you know how your partner behaves in a crisis? Life and relationship experience are also a factor. Older couples might not need to date for as long as younger ones because they have a better idea of what they are looking for and how to navigate partnership. It is easy to judge other couples based on how long or short it takes them to get married, but everyone's path to the altar, or to the courthouse, is different, and that is perfectly okay. You don't have to get married anymore if you don't want to. I'll be honest, the history of marriage isn't a pretty one. This institution that we've all grown up around has its roots deeply tied to the patriarchy, and marriage really only became something other than a glorified business deal in the last 70 or so years. To this day, heterosexual marriage can have a gendering effect on couples, and men tend to get more benefits out of it than women. It is completely understandable if this isn't something you want to opt into, especially now that people can have full lives, including cohabitation and children, without being social pariahs for not getting a marriage license first. So now that marriage is no longer a necessity but a choice, it falls to the individual to figure out if they actually want to get married, and if so, why? What will marriage bring to your relationship that simply being life partners won't? I can't answer that question for you, but I can suggest that you take the time to figure it out before you say I do, or I don't. After conducting my marriage investigation, I have a better understanding of how impactful this institution really is. Not just our own marriage, but the marriages of the people around us. This dyadic relationship shapes society's makeup, whether we like it or not. But since it doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon, we might as well be more thoughtful about the direction modern marriage will take, both in our own lives and how we conceptualize it on a broader scale. We can finally create the marriages we want instead of trying to fit ourselves into a pre-existing version that doesn't suit us.
Thank you, Allison. Okay, everyone, if you got something out of today's show, please leave us a rating or review to help others find it. And remember, if you want to get a jump on your holiday gifts, how about giving a membership to the Next Big Idea Club? We'll send out the best nonfiction books of the year as chosen by our curators Malcolm Gladwell, Adam Grant, Susan Cain, and Daniel Pink. We also offer beautiful audio and video masterclasses, live events, and other goodies. Check it all out at nextbigideaclub.com. This week's episodes were written by me, Michael Kovnat, and edited by Caleb Bissinger. The Next Big Idea Daily is proud to be part of the LinkedIn Podcast Network. We'll see you Monday.